Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we are over at my mom's house in town and we are trying out this Ego 56 volt brushless battery string trimmer. So I done an initial video at my house and I pretty much took it and ran it around all my fence line, or at least around where my house is at, and trimmed up a whole bunch of area. And we were using a 2.5 amp hour battery and we pretty much run it all the way down, which we did cover quite a bit of ground, but it was mostly just straight up grass. So now we're in town and we have a chain link fence to have to weed eat around. So I'm real curious about how this Line IQ technology is actually going to work in order to trim something that's usually very abrasive on your trimmer line. So is it going to keep up? Is it going to keep the line fed out? Is it going to just feed too much line? I don't know. We're going to find out. So let's put this thing to the test. I've got a whole bunch of fence to weed eat around. So let's jump right in here and get started. Now real quick too, for those that don't know what the Line IQ technology is, it's basically a self-feeding trimmer head. So instead of having to bump this on the ground to get it to feed line, you actually just run it, and as it uses the line, it will automatically feed it out to keep the line pretty much at optimal length all the time. So it worked pretty good whenever I was at home doing all that trimming, but sometimes it seemed like it got a little bit short, and then finally it would realize it and then it'd go ahead and kick the line out. So we see how it does on this abrasive chain link fence. So I don't know if you've seen that on the camera or not right there, but the line was running short, and about the time I was thinking, it's like, I wish it would go ahead and feed some line, then it went ahead and fed some line. So it's pretty much probably whenever, you know, like I say, you're kind of thinking that it needs to go, it seems to kind of react and go ahead and do it. So another thing too, I do have the trimmer set to the slowest speed, so I don't have to worry about as much as like over revving it basically, or getting it, you know, spinning it too fast and really cutting the line on the fence. So the trimmer line right now is to the point where I'm thinking that I need it to go out. And what I find interesting with that one is that I let off the trigger and I heard it click. So I actually heard it feed out whenever I let off. So I've got all the inside of the fence trimmed up, and I went ahead and trimmed and edged all the sidewalks. So now I've just got all the outside of the fence to do. I have tried to kind of keep count of how many times it's advanced the line, and I believe we're up to about 6 times. So it doesn't seem to be too awful bad, because I've been really rough on it, especially on this edging, because I just, you know, cutting into the ground and stuff here, and it had actually advanced like 3 times just doing that. So let's keep going, and I'm gonna try to get the outside of this done, and then I'll kind of give you my final thoughts on how this Line IQ system works. Well, I spoke a little too soon. I just now got to the end of the line, so it threw that off there. So let's go ahead and restring it and see how that goes. So the trimmer came with some Ego trimmer line. There's 2 different collars here. I don't know if that's 2 pre-cut lengths. So let's take them apart and find out. Okay, so what they've done here is they've got 2 lines infused together pretty much. And I'm assuming they done this for a pre-cut length, and also, you know, so you'll know where the middle is on this. So this is the first time of me restringing this trimmer. And from my understanding, you just poke your trimmer line through. You're going to pull it to the middle. And then there's a button, which is, my button's covered up with grass right now, but there's a button right here that you just push that, and it's going to wind the trimmer line. So we're just going to wind it up till the point where we're just shy of our cutoff, and that's where we're at right there. That is the easiest trimmer I've ever restrung. There was no lining up. There was nothing other than having your pre-cut piece and sticking it through the hole and getting it half and half and then pushing the button. And you can see how fast that wound up. And on other trimmer heads that are, they're easy to rewind, but as you're turning the head, you get all that excess wrapped around your arms, and you're all the time having to fight with that. This had no problem with that at all. That was the easiest I've ever done. That was amazing. So if you already had your pre-cut pieces of trimmer line, you can restring this trimmer in 30 seconds. That's like the fastest and the easiest I've ever experienced with a string trimmer. I really like that. So how long it lasts will be the question, because, you know, it seems like the more things you get that are electronic and run on, you know, microchips or whatever it takes to run this stuff, then the less reliable it is. But it does have a good warranty on it, so I'm not so sure that I'm even worried about it. I believe it has a 5-year consumer warranty. So, I mean, you're covered for a long time. So let's continue on and keep working on this fence and try to get this finished up. So I'm to the point right now where I really want it to advance the line, and for some reason it's not. So I don't know if it got tangled up or something happened causing it to not let go, but I tried to kind of trick it by bumping it. It did finally advance a little bit right there, but I'd like it to come on out to the full length. Well, I gotta say that I do really like this trimmer. I'm a little baffled here right on the very end where it wasn't advancing the line and I wanted it to, and it seemed like it just kept getting shorter and shorter and it wasn't advancing. I kind of messed with it a little bit, and it finally advanced it a little bit and got, you know, to where it was cutting good again. But I needed it to go just a little bit farther, and you know, like to get it out to the full length or to the full cutting width. And so it didn't quite go there. Now I've run out of stuff to trim, so that's going to have to be a test coming up to see if it will go ahead and advance. Maybe it's just being too easy on it. Maybe there's something to it, and I will tell you, I've not read the directions on this, you know, of how to do this or anything. So it might be user error. I might be doing something wrong that's not feeding. There might be a little trick to it to say, hey, I want it to go ahead and feed or whatever. But overall, I absolutely like this trimmer. It does good. It seemed like for the most part, every time I wanted it to advance, just shortly after it would go ahead and advance the line. I don't mind the bump feeds, but it was just kind of cool having it automatically do it. And then the number one thing I like about this trimmer, it does have good power and all that kind of stuff, but how easy it is to restring this thing is amazing. I've never had any other trimmer that was that easy. I've had them, I have a video on an Atlas 80 volt string trimmer, and it's super easy to do. The Echo Speed Feed heads are super easy to do, but they still take that time of putting the string in it and then sitting there and cranking it and turning it by hand. Where this one, you just pulled the line through, pushed the button, and it wound it up. It was so awesome. And as long as it continues to hold up and continues to work correctly, because that was one of the things I did see in reviews where people were saying that it was just feeding the line and just chewing through line like crazy. But it doesn't hold very much line either, so that might make it seem like that it's using more than it actually is, or at least the replacement they sent with it. I haven't actually checked. Again, I haven't read the directions, so I don't know how much this thing actually will hold, but the replacement line that they sent for it was a pretty short piece. So if that's all that it'll hold, then that's pretty good reason of why that it would be so quick to have to reload. And if a person could pre-cut a bunch of pieces like that and just keep them with them, you can restring this thing in 30 seconds. It is amazing. So anyways, with all that being said, thanks for checking out the video today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, I appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button. Follow along for all the other projects we have and review videos we have on our Ego products. And until next time, I'll see you outdoors.